Today we have one of my favorite amplifiers in the shop. This is out of the Acura TL. We're going to show you how to repair this amplifier. We're going to start with removing 4 screws. There's 4 on each end, but we're going to remove the 4 on the end without the connectors. The repair on this usually works about 98% of the time. We're going to show you what it takes to take care of low audio or no audio or snapping and popping through some of the speakers. Sometimes some speakers are out altogether. This usually takes care of the problem about 98% of the time. The other 2% of the time that it's not taken care of, I'm going to point out one of the other areas that can cause this problem or one of the other problems with this amplifier as well. Now we've removed the 4 screws along the edge of the amplifier, end of the amplifier. We're going to go to the side of the amplifier. These are 4 long, fine thread screws. What these 4 screws do is they secure this metal bracket within the amplifier that goes along the output ICs. The output ICs are the amplifiers, and they drive the speakers for audio. Now we have all 4 of these screws removed from the amplifier. We're going to grasp the end that we just removed the 4 screws from, and the amplifier will pull out of the casing. Now what we're going to do here next is, along this other bracket here are 2 screws that secure it into this metal bracket. We're going to remove these 2 screws because we don't want to be putting pressure on this board, and because it stands a little higher, we don't want to take a chance of cracking the board as well. So we're going to remove these 2 screws very easily, or delicately, so that we don't crack the circuit board like I mentioned. Now these screws are all different for different parts of the amplifier. It won't be easy to mess this up. You should have no problem as to where the screws all go back in, because they only go one way pretty much. Now we've removed these 2 screws. We're going to move that part of the bracket as well. This will allow us to work with the circuit board flat on the board. Now the problem with this amplifier is the electrolytic capacitors. Usually electrolytic capacitors are all these larger components standing up on the board, and I've seen in many cases these capacitors go bad. What they do is they couple an audio signal. In other words, the audio signal passes through them, and it also cleans the signal up. What we find is these components lose their value and don't do their job. So what we've done is gone through this amplifier and made a legend of all the components, the polarities, which way they go in. This one has a total of about, I would say, 30 components in it. So this is a very simple repair. Parts probably cost somewhere around $6 or $7 to fix this. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our solder sucker and we are going to remove all these components. And I'm going to start with the back of the board, go through and remove these components. Now once we removed all these components, we're going to move on to repopulating the circuit board. I did mention the legend which I showed earlier. I will put a picture of that up here at the end of the video. But normally taking care of all these capacitors takes care of the problem with this amplifier 98% of the time. The other 2% of the time I've seen, there's usually 3 outputs along the edge of the amplifier here. I've seen these burn. Usually you'll notice a big burn mark through it, or possibly one of these 3 capacitors are bulging and will cause the output to go as well. So we replace all the electrolytic capacitors in this unit. Of course, I have the luxury of powering this up on the bench and testing it. You will have to put this back in the car to test. If you have other questions, email us. Let us know what you have. We may be able to help. Hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching.